What's happening, guys? This is the Grand Master of Faster, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons. Well, to be more technically accurate, it's the second extra video, and also the final video. But anyway, this video is going to detail some beta elements of the two Oracle games. Including unused screenshots that I found on IGN, so I quickly want to give a shout out to them before I get started talking here. As you can see from this image and the previous one, the dungeon designs were a lot different. You didn't have those statues in any of the dungeons. Now, here we have an image of what I can assume can only be Impa's house, or Impa's refuge in Oracle of Seasons. I think I mentioned this before, but, the working titles for Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages were the Mystical Seed of Power and the Mystical Seed of Wisdom. And they did feature Din and Nehru, and they still featured the elements of seasons and time. It just changed dramatically in the later stages. Speaking of things that were in both games, this, I assume, is Maple. And originally she was going to serve perhaps a larger role, like she did in the manga, because in the manga, she was a friend to Link's animal buddies. Now, the animal buddies were one particular element that made it to the final product, and we will see images of them shortly. But I'm curious to know what sort of role Maple was originally going to play. Not really much is known about the early stages of development in these two games. What we do know is that, of course, they were developed by both Nintendo and Capcom. But, yeah, we really don't know all that much about the beta stages or the unreleased third game. But here we have a house surrounded by grass, and if you really look at this image hard, you'll see that it kind of resembles a section of Mabe Village, which for those of you Zelda fans know that's the main hub world of Link's Awakening, a game I actually Let's Played once upon a time, back when I was still young and inexperienced. But yeah, maybe this game was going to mirror the overworld, or shall we say the theme, or whatever it is. It was going to bear closer resemblance to Link's Awakening. Now, here we have various shots of the different seasons that are in Oracle of Seasons, but this shot kind of intrigues me. If you take a close look, you will notice that those two Octoroks are in fact gold. And if you remember Oracle of Seasons, there were 4 golden beasts that you had to slay in order to get the ultra-powerful Red Ring. This may lead to some theorizing that the golden beasts were originally going to play a much larger role in the final product. But we can't know for sure. Whether they were going to be special enemies or just souped up versions of regular enemies, we don't know. And here's an autumn shot of the Oracle of Seasons, and there's an image of Link in Ricky. Yeah, the shots definitely look a little different. We still don't know how Ricky, or any of the other animal buddies for that matter, we still don't know what kind of role they played in the games to begin with. Because in the final product, you just encounter them as you progress through your adventure. But whether or not the animal buddies were optional, or whether they were going to play as big a role as they did in the final product, we don't know. Here's an image of Dimitri, and it looks, if you kind of take a close look at it, maybe this area eventually became Tarm Ruins. It has the notch for vines in the wall for vines growing, and it has the broken tree as well as kind of a similar layout to that area of Tarm Ruins. So maybe that's what it turned out to be. I don't know. Now, here is what I was mentioning earlier. The working title for Oracle of Seasons was originally going to be The Legend of Zelda, The Tale of Power, or The Mystical Seed of Power. However, since the game was going to be a trilogy, that leaves one game unattended. It was known as The Legend of Zelda, Mystical Seed of Courage. And in that game, obviously the Oracle was Furore. What we do know is that Oracle, the Mystical Seed of Courage, was originally going to have a theme based around color. Now, this had done before. You remember that if you've played the DX version of Link's Awakening, you'll know that there is a color dungeon exclusive to that version only. So my guess is that they were going to just run wild with that mechanic. But very little is known about the game because it was cancelled, I think, in April of 2000. So, yeah. Now, there's one more thing I want to show, and it is this right here. This was a limited package that came with the 2 Game Boy games upon their release in 2001. And there are some interesting objects here. The package came in a cool-looking box that said limited edition, and it included 2 Game Boy skins, one for the Game Boy Color, the other for the Game Boy Advance. Not only that, it came with some wallpaper, with some Oracle of Seasons and Ages wallpaper, as well as a t-shirt and a boomerang of all things. All I can say is good luck trying to get your hands on it because there were only 500 total packages ever shipped, making it one of the rarest pieces in terms of Nintendo collection ever produced. By that I mean they were produced not in Japan exclusively. It was also released in America. But yeah, it's extremely rare, and it fetches a very, very, very high price on eBay. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's even on eBay to begin with. That's how rare it is. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the project as much as I did, and stay tuned for my next Let's Play. Thank you very much.